Greg Jennings, 10 years, 7 with the Packers, now at Fox Sports. Pro Bowler, multiple time Super Bowl champ. All right, so I said this weekend that if teams are honest, intellectually honest, the Giants weren't. They reached for Daniel Jones and then tried to prove they were right by paying him. And now look at the Giants. I would rather Tyrod Taylor, he's starting this weekend, I'd take Tyrod over Daniel Jones. Is that in this league, Greg, people make mistakes. Coaches, players, GMs. You just have to own them and move off them. Jordan Love right now, first half's worst in the league. Lowest completion percentage. This is an awful Denver defense. He's had extra time to prepare. If he lays an egg, does Green Bay have to look in the mirror and go, okay, this kid, he had extra time against the Raiders defense, struggled. Extra time now against the Denver defense, worst in league history statistically. Would you be concerned, Greg, if he lays an egg?
Yeah, I would be concerned because of the reasons that you just laid out. When you have extra time, you tend to understand and have more information to pull from as far as what to expect of your opponent and what really will work well for you offensively and what suits the guys that are potentially going to dress and play in that game so that you can have success. If the Green Bay Packers struggle and Jordan Love struggles offensively and he has all his weapons, Aaron Jones is available, Christian Watson and Dobbs and all these guys are available and they play with a full roster of personnel around him, then you're going to have a lot of questions because in the season you don't get time to prepare for teams after a bye and like this every single week. And like as you mentioned, the last 2 weeks they've had extended periods of time to prepare for their opponents, which typically affords the team that has the most time the better outcome. With Jordan Love, what I sense is it's kind of similar to when Aaron Rodgers took over and it was us. Like there was this sense of he was our guy. We knew he was our guy. Jordan Love, I think they're in question of whether or not he is the guy. There's going to be roller coasters, though, Colin. Like they have to learn how to win. It can't be right now all about Jordan Love in that passing game. They got to get more production out of the run and put him in great positions to where they look great or look better when he's throwing the ball.
We were talking about Justin Fields earlier. So Justin Fields got a banged up thumb. And I want you to take me how a player thinks. So the Bears, right now, I think they have the first and second pick or first and third. And I think because of Caleb Williams and Drake Maye being A prospects, you have to draft one. They have 2 picks up there. One of them, if you have unless you have Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Jalen Hurts, 7, 8 guys in the league, Trevor Lawrence, you have to take a quarterback. It's almost you're not going to have Drake Maye and Caleb are 2 A's. These aren't like big, tall, move, fast, successful, productive. Is Justin Fields, do you think, talking himself into playing, not getting surgery, because reportedly he didn't want to get surgery. You think that's the Bears saying, go ahead, sit down, we'll go with the backup? Or is that Justin Fields saying, hey, I'm not stupid. I see Caleb Williams. I gotta produce here, or it's over for me. What do you think it is?
Come on, it's the latter. Like, guys aren't foolish. Like, we understand how this league works. If you're not available, they can overlook you and look into the future without you. I don't care where you were drafted, especially in Justin Fields' case, when you've offered up so much to retain him going into this season and to put pieces around him. And part of these first few games, it's been like, what are we doing? Did we make the right decision? Then you see C.J. Stroud having success. We all understand what Bryce Young is up against, but and Richardson over with the Colts, like they've had glimmer of success, and it's like Justin Fields is in that same category of just now starting to turn over that engine. You can't have that when you're a 3- and 4-year guy. And so moving into this offseason, if the Bears continue to struggle, which I presume that they will, like Justin Fields understands, like, these quarterbacks are guarantees almost. That's what everybody's saying. They're guarantees, and nothing is a guarantee. But Caleb Williams and how he looks and Drake Maye, these guys look really good and very promising. You can build around that. And you haven't paid a Justin Fields yet. You wouldn't have had to pay these guys. Like, it allows you to continue to build and be in pretty much the same situation and possibly get something for Justin Fields if he doesn't work out. But if I'm a player, absolutely, I got to get back on the field because I got to prove that I am the guy and that I am worthy of getting the money that is to come if I perform to standard.
So I like watching Miami play. But when they went up and got worked,
I heard you earlier.
Yeah.
You think they're fool's gold.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. A lot of teams look good in Miami in sunny weather, and then the NFL hits, and it's called Thanksgiving, and it's called Philadelphia, and it's called physicality. There's a lot of corners that look great against you in September. November, it's cold and chilly, and you're out there as a big receiver muscling them for balls. And my takeaway is this is a physical league. I like Miami. I don't love Miami. Did you ever face a team like Miami that was the sports car of the league, but you knew deep down, glass chin? Glass chin. Because that's what I see.
Yeah, we felt that way about a lot of the Atlanta Falcons teams. Like offensively, they had a lot of weapons. Like they would look great. They're in the dome, and then you get them into your climate and your weather and deep into the season, and it's like they're fragile. They're like tissue paper. But what I like about the Miami Dolphins that no one really identifies them as is they can run the football. Like they lead the league in passing, they lead the league in rushing because they understand who they are. They have to open up their run game by passing the football, and that's what they do with Tyreek Hill. You're so afraid of the big play, it allows you to turn around if you're Tua, hand the ball off, and you have your guys behind you getting chunk plays. Now, they're missing guys going into this game this week, but I still like the Miami Dolphins because they've been able to do it on both sides as far as not defensively. I don't like them defensively. That's a question mark, but when you're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, they're acting as though they don't understand their true identity is running the football and to stay on brand.
Yeah.
And so I like the Miami Dolphins in this week's game.
Whoa. So,
I do.
Well, that's okay. So what do you make, so in Green Bay, you had Favre, you had Driver, you had James Jones, you had Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was an A. When you look at Brock Purdy and you see Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and Williams, just as a former player, do you think he's a star, or do you think it's one of these, they ain't paying him anything, he's got weapons? Because you can't fool players. What do you see with Brock Purdy?
So I like what I see with Brock Purdy. I think the difference when it comes to, like, our situation is, like, Aaron Rodgers, we truly knew he was a passer. He was a thrower of the football. He can do all the things. He possessed all the tools. It looked like he passed the test when you knew what he was able to do and you watched him play. And in our case, when we were on the practice field with him, that's the same that these guys talk about Brock Purdy. However, for us watching, I think these last 2 weeks, the Cleveland game, when a couple of guys got banged up, Debo and Christian McCaffrey, I felt like he missed an opportunity to show the world and everyone watching, we can still win this game because of me. And he had one of his worst performances. He can't continue to do that. It can't continue to be about all the other guys. Now, I get it. You always build around the guys that you have. And he has the luxury of goods around him, and he needs to have that right now because he's a young quarterback. But at some point, we need to start talking about how he makes those guys around him better, and he's producing from a quarterback position. Because I've heard you say it several times on this show today, you got to have an elite guy under center when you want to get it done deep in the season and in the playoffs.
Oh, I was going to ask you about this. Derek Carr was barking at everybody last night. Olave, the coaches, and I'm like, bro, give me a break. Like, how does that play? The Olave thing, after about the third bark, I'm like, dude, chill out. I have defended Peyton Manning and Brady. Aaron can get snippy. I'll defend that. I thought Carr was totally out of line last night. What did you see?
I did too. I didn't like it, especially the one to Olave when he's yelling for him to continue on the route, which Olave has to do. But it's a double pump. It's one of those plays where you're going to pump the corner. If he bites, great. If he doesn't, you got to come off that guy, and you throw it out of bounds. How are you yelling at me when if I did continue on the route, and I know how this works, Colin, I'm going to give you and Jason, here, this is how it works. Derek Carr is going to come to the sideline. They're going to say, what happened? Well, I saw that he didn't continue running the route, so I just threw it away. He did not throw that ball away. He was actually trying to make a pass down the field, and it was out of bounds anyway. And so you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I haven't been doing my part. When this team acquired Derek Carr, everyone down there in New Orleans believed he was the missing piece. He was the reason why we were going to now become a Super Bowl contending team, because we knew what we had on defense, and all we needed was a guy under center that can be consistent and be above average. That's Derek Carr, and he hasn't been that. Yes, he can put up stats after the fact. Anybody can do that, but I didn't like what I saw out of Derek Carr last night.
Greg makes a good point. They had Kamara, Olave, Thomas, pass rusher, Lattimore. Like, those are elite players. Their pass blocking is Their run blocking's pretty good on the O-line.
Yeah.
But the feeling was 5-6 months ago, they're going to win the division. This is going to be a really good team. And it's like, they're bad in the red zone. They don't throw the ball down the field. Michael Thomas had one great catch, but he and Olave just disappear for long stretches. They're totally dependent on Alvin Kamara catching the ball out of the backfield. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.